I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater week by week and show by show. And today, we're playing it a little smooth. We're playing it a little low-key here. And in case you couldn't tell, because we're an audio medium, Andrew has a big, wacky face. His new name is Goatee McFace.
Yeah, see?
I hear you like peanuts, didn't that right, Goatee McFace?
Yeah, I love peanuts. I leave them at the scene of every crime that I don't commit.
No. The Al Pacino definitely committed that crime.
Yeah, but I wouldn't admit it to you, Dick.
I'm Dick Tracy, and I have a yellow coat and no discernible personality.
Which is really how it should be.
And I take in random orphan boys, and maybe I'm cheating on my soon-to-be wife, or maybe I'm not. Who knows?
Look, man, it doesn't matter. This movie's so fucking good.
In case you haven't picked up what we're throwing down, this week we are talking about Dick Tracy, directed by Warren Beatty. Cue the music.
Gonna be mine. Sooner or later you're gonna be fine. Baby, it's time that you faced it. I always get my man. Sooner or later you're gonna decide. Nowhere to hide. Baby, it's time, so I waste it in chatter. Let's settle the matter. Baby, you're mine on a platter. I always get my man.
Dick Tracy is a film written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. and directed by Warren Beatty, with music and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, which got him...
Oh, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah. Which got him his Oscar. Based on characters by Chester Gould, Dick Tracy premiered at the Uptown Theater in Washington, D.C. on June 10th, 1990, and was released nationwide a day later. Reviews range from favorable to mixed, with positive comments on Madonna's acting and Beatty's direction. The film was a success at the box office, and at awards time, it garnered 7 Academy Award nominations, winning 3 of the categories: Best Original Song, Best Makeup, and Best Art Direction. Dick Tracy is remembered today for its visual style. However, at the time, despite being able to eke out a profit, it did not blow Disney away, and no sequel was greenlit. They also put like a huge marketing blitz behind it. They were really, really banking on this film being like Batman levels, and it just didn't get there. But the plot of Dick Tracy is the comic strip detective finds his life vastly complicated when breathless Mahoney makes advances towards him while he's trying to battle Big Boy Caprice and his united mob. Dick Tracy.
I don't know fucking anything about Dick Tracy, like the comics or anything else. I've only seen this movie, and that's it.
Had you seen it before we talked about it today?
Yes,
Okay.
I had. Honestly, I think I just watched it because I was just like, I've heard of Dick Tracy. Like, what is this about? But unironically, this is one of the best fucking movies from this era. It's so fucking fun to watch.
Would you say it is the best comic book movie of the 90s? Or even, of the 20th century?
I mean, there's not a ton of competition for that, is there? I mean, obviously, there's the 89 Batman.
You've got the Superman movies, the Richard Donner ones.
I don't know. I think this is better. I think I like this better.
What about Annie, starring Albert
Go
Finney?
fuck yourself, Jess. Jesus fucking Christ. Just shut the fuck up.
Everybody, Republicans too, Alba, sing!
The Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown.
I don't like any of the Charlie Brown movies, really, so...
Okay, so this is the best comic book movie of the 20th century.
I think the competition is probably the original Superman, which
3 hours long.
Yeah, I think that's why I've never sat all the way through it. The 89 Batman is... The thing with that is it's really similar to this, like really similar to this, but I like this better, so...
I think if we're just comparing it to 89 Batman, I think it might have I think this is better than that. I think I like Batman Returns a little better than this. Batman Returns fucks.
Now, the thing with Batman Returns is Batman Returns almost feels like they watched Dick Tracy and then made another Batman movie.
Maybe.
Like, they got the Penguin, which is kind of like some of the fucking weird...
Big boy caprice.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of... It feels like Dick Tracy ripped off Batman and then Batman ripped off Dick Tracy, but I don't actually know the timeline, so it might be totally off.
That could even out because Batman came in 89, Batman Returns comes out in 93, and this comes out in 91.
I don't know, so maybe...
You can put on the conspiracy theory hat, and I will not disagree with you.
There's at least some overlap. Let's talk about the positives, just because I know you probably got some complaints, Mr. Movie Man.
I don't have as many as you'd think.
Okay. But
I just find this film strange.
But I think that's what I love about it. So it's visually really unique.
Yes.
I think. It's so on one hand it looks sort of similar to the 89 Batman, like that sort of style, but it doesn't do the whole like dark colors and all that kind of shit. Everything is like vibrant. It's like you have like banana yellow or like bright red, like these vibrant colors. It's just striking. You know you're watching Dick Tracy because it's like there's the one scene where he's tied to a chair in the basement and he's wearing bright yellow. The kid is wearing bright red.
Yep.
And then the entire building is painted bright red and yellow. And it's just like, why? But it's great.
It is a wild film to look at. The thing that I think is the best part about this film, in my opinion, is it predates digital. So instead of having all this stuff that was like digitally fixed up, they had to set deck everything. Everything had to be painted. Everything had to match the style, which both makes you uncomfortable, but also, my God.
I just love it. And okay, and I mean, you have to talk about the makeup.
Yes,
like every villain, and it's specifically villain characters.
Yeah,
they
not
don't
a single hero or neutral person looks like. Maybe Mandy Patinkin, who is like 88 keys, a little bit.
Although they give him that fucking cartoon laugh.
88! Your people did it. They got Tracy out of the way. Keep him out of the way.
Only the villain characters are in this really thick makeup where they look like caricatures. They look like if you went to get like your picture done at one of those caricature places and they draw you with a gigantic nose if you have a slightly large nose, or like huge ears if you have a slightly large ears, or like a tiny face if your face is like sort of disproportionate. Like everyone is like that. And then they're all named after it as well. Like, so there's a guy with a huge head and a tiny face, and his name is Little Face.
Yeah.
There's a guy where his head is completely flat, and his name is Flat Top.
But that's right out of the comics. Like, literally those designs.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they actually did it.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
They could have not done it. You know, they could have had Flat Top be a guy that wears like a flat hat or something.
They could have gone for realism.
Yeah, which, like, it's so good that they didn't because it makes this movie so memorable. It's like, why does everyone look so fucked up?
Let me just go through the names of all the mob members, if you could. We got Mumbles, as played by Dustin Hoffman, which unrecognizable.
Fantastic. Mumbles is I love that his mouth is like twisted to the side, and everything he says is like.
Hello, Mumbles.
What was about you?
Then you've got William Forsythe as Flat Top. Incredible thing.
He's one of my favorites. I think he just looks cool. Is my thing.
Edo Ross as Itchy, his other hitman.
Yeah. Give me the phone.
Then you've got Numbers the Accountant, Mandy Patinkin as 88 Keys. You've got Prune Face, Influence, Lips, Manless, played by Paul Sorvino, in a very small role. As
I love Lips though. He does the like like from Lord of the Rings, like the disgusting eating.
Yeah.
I feel like Lips does it better though. Like he's like slurping up these like oysters or something.
I don't know if it's that he does it better or if Madonna's just nailing the reaction shot in the same frame.
That might be what it is, yeah.
It was before you became a blimp.
He's in it for like barely any time, but his only scene is him eating in the most disgusting manner you've ever seen in your life.
And then being drowned in cement and thrown into a lake.
That's the other thing with this movie. It's so fucking dark. Like, it looks like it, because it's so vibrant and the makeup is so exaggerated, it feels like it's like a family movie, but like it's not.
How about the fact that Disney made it?
God, there's a scene where you can literally just see Madonna's nipples.
Yeah. That scene stuck with me because I went into this basically blind for another project, and I'm just like, oh, her tits are out. Cue the clip from Scrooged where you can see her nipples. Well, I want to see her nipples.
I'm hoping she consented to it. I know that the 90s were a weird time, but...
So that's a fun... well, A, don't worry about Madonna. She's fairly free. But there's a great story from Al Pacino on the set of this film where he said, I'm doing this film, Dick Tracy, and I'm working with Madonna. And she walks up to me in a robe, and I'm just like, how you doing, Madonna? And she's like, great. And then she flashed me under her robe, and she's just completely bare underneath it. And anytime you catch me staring off into space, smiling, that's what's crossing my mind.
Why? What the fuck?
And I'm just like, man,
okay,
that's wild.
Madonna. She probably
she's
asked
a pretty
to do
fearless performer. Yeah. And we've only talked about Madonna once before on this podcast, and that was in the Evita movie, which I also think she's not bad. And I don't think she's a bad performer. She's got a presence to her.
No, I think she does really well. And I mean, she sings. So, but basically every song that Stephen Sondheim writes, it's essentially for her. There is one song where she duets with 88 Keys.
It's Evita and Shay, but it's not the right Evita and not the right Shay. That kind of messes with me a little bit. You think that Madonna's character, Breathless, is kind of just the femme fatale that's basically like window dressing, kind of the way that Jessica Rabbit is in the Roger Rabbit a few years beforehand, but she's a big part of the story. Probably one of the more interesting parts of it.
Spoilers, but this movie's like 20-something years old, so 30 years old, so, who cares? But she's like, maybe not the main villain, but like at least the secondary villain.
I'd call her the main, like, the one with all the cards, kind of.
Yeah, because in reality, Big Boy Caprice, while he is sort of the main villain, he doesn't actually know what's going on. He's sort of oblivious.
He's a boob.
Yeah. So, like, while he is driving the main plot and he is the person that needs to be stopped, Breathless is the one who actually knows what's happening and is setting up all the dominoes,
Can I be... Well, don't bring up dominoes to me, but can I be completely honest? I don't think the twist makes sense. For the entire movie, like, it seems like they're setting up Dick Tracy's fiance to be that character. And it makes sense because she's always kind of leaving. She's always kind of planning things. She seems a little duplicitous, and it seems like she'd want revenge on these things. And especially when the kidnapping segment happens, I'm like, oh, this is where she'll reveal herself. But nope, it's Madonna.
I don't think it doesn't make sense. I mean, because they set up that she's tired of being pushed around by Lips, like right away.
Yes.
And then immediately Big Boy kills Lips and then starts pushing her around again. And also she sort of likes Dick Tracy, so she doesn't want to see him get murdered necessarily. I feel like a lot of it is she's setting it up that she can be on top and Dick Tracy doesn't die.
Yeah, but then who shoots her at the end? Like, she definitely dies in the final scene, but I forgot.
Big Boy. Big Boy shoots her.
Can I be honest? I liked Big Boy a lot more than I liked any of our heroes. Like, not as like, he's like one of those villains you love to hate. He's like one of the most...
He's like a sleazy, yeah.
He's one of the most engaging film presences I've ever seen.
I want them dead. Both of them. I want this no-face dead, and I want Tracy dead. What's the matter? You bums forgot how to kill people? Doesn't your work mean anything to you anymore? Have you no sense of pride in what you do? No sense of duty? No sense of destiny? I'm looking for generals! What do I got? Foot soldiers! I want Dick Tracy dead!
I love the part where they're singing more or whatever, and he's singing the whole thing with them.
More.
It's really good.
It's his second best musical number, right next to Dunkachino.
It's not Al anymore. It's Dunk.
Oh God, I love Dunkachino.
What's my name?
Dunkachino.
He is fantastic in this movie. A lot of the bit players, like every one of the mob bosses, is some very well-known character actor, ranging from James Caan to Dick Van Dyke as the mayor.
Is it the mayor or the DA?
Yeah, the DA. But definitely and I feel like, strangely, Dick Van Dyke is underused. Maybe they're trying to figure out what to do with him in another movie sequel that they were going to do.
Well, he gets off, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he does. Yeah, you're right.
No, he does. Dick Tracy gets framed for killing him. Which Dick Tracy gets off really easy with that one.
I mean, Dick Tracy kind of is the ultimate, I can get away with anything because I'm just that cool kind of guy.
I mean, there's one thing about this movie that I'm not a huge fan of, and it's that Dick Tracy is definitely like a propaganda kind of thing.
Oh, definitely.
He is like the cop that just should be allowed to do whatever he wants because he can stop everything, all crime at all times. Mm-hmm. I can sort of forgive it, though, because this takes place in like a fantasy universe that is nothing like our real world, but... Mm-hmm. But, it is kind of there.
It's like when he immediately refuses to let people have their phone call, torches witnesses, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's not a good guy.
He's like a Dirty Harry kind of thing,
He wants to keep killing people. He keeps saying, I don't want a desk job. They want to put me behind a desk.
Well, he wants to be on the front lines fighting the criminal element. Which I guess you can interpret as he just wants to keep killing people, but...
I mean, he does kill a lot. The movie's climax is a gunfight where they just blow each other away with machine guns.
Oh my God, they kill, everybody. The only person who doesn't die in the gunfight is Big Boy Caprice.
It is a wild scene to watch now. It looks all practical. It looks incredible, but, now when, when's the last time you've seen a hero fire a gun and kill someone in a movie?
Well, I mean, there's John Wick and stuff like that, isn't there?
I mean, yeah, but a PG movie aimed for all audiences.
Oh, I mean, yeah. That's the thing, though. Again, I feel like this movie would definitely be PG-13, at least, if it came out now.
Well, PG-13 existed at the time, too. It's not like that wasn't...
Really?
Yeah, this was right around the time the PG-13 was implemented.
This has, nudity.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of violence. I don't know. Some of the makeup is leaning into body horror almost.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite parts of this movie, it's so stupid, is how the thing is resolved with Big Boy. It's not because the heroes trick him, or it's because he accidentally gets framed with kidnapping that he didn't mean to do.
I mean, it's an intentional framing. Breathless is framing him on purpose.
Yeah, but he didn't do it. Our bad guy didn't do the kidnapping of the hero's girlfriend.
The funny thing is that yes, he's getting put away. He's finally caught because he didn't do a crime,
which is fucking hilarious. And he's just apologizing to the girl the entire time through the kidnapping.
He's apologizing to her, but he's also verbally threatening. It just goes back and forth. I like that Big Boy Caprice. His personality trait is that every time a leadership role or something happens, he quotes somebody and then says who he's quoting.
We are for the people, and if you ain't for the people, you can't buy the people.
It's strange. I mean, let's be clear. Big Boy looks weird. He's the least weird-looking bad guy among them, aside from maybe Mandy Patinkin. Oh. He has a hairline thing going on, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I looked up pictures, and I feel like that's the normal hairline.
Maybe. He doesn't look normal. He still looks a little off. And maybe Breathless, they're saying, since she is also beautiful, but also evil, I don't know. Maybe there's something to play with there.
We talked about the twist. But one thing I just want to mention is when she's doing all of the crime element, she's wearing a mask where she doesn't have a face at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like what's so great about the movie is that you don't even know, like initially, there's no way to know if that's just a person who actually doesn't have a face.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie where someone might just not have
Yeah,
a
it's
face.
like literally, this could be a person who has no face. Like
See,
you literally can't tell.
I had seen Return of the Jedi a few too many times to know when a female's voice is just being altered for the mask. And it's literally put the voices next to each other. The masked vigilante and Dick Tracy sounds exactly like Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi when it's like, Yato.
Yate, you know. This is 88 Keys. I got a deal for you. Meet me at the city car barn in 1 hour.
And like, as soon as I
Yeah.
heard the voice, I'm like, oh, that's some female. I don't know which. We've got two of them in this movie, so we got to figure out which one it is. That being said, let's talk about Warren Beatty. What do you know about Warren Beatty in general?
He directed Dick Tracy.
That's it.
That's about all I know right now. What else we got?
Warren Beatty is a bit of a weirdo. He doesn't make films like if you bring him on, you're bringing him to write and produce and do everything. He is a presence in and of himself. So famously, I think you're a Red Letter Media fan. Ishtar stars him.
3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and.
These men are pawns. I put a price of 20,000 dirham on their heads.
Next, they will be hailed as the two messenger of God.
They were just a couple of songwriters who came to Ishtar to break into show business.
And this was his follow-up to Ishtar.
Wait, this was the follow-up to
Yep.
Ishtar?
Yep.
Dang, something good did come out of Ishtar.
But the problem is you had Elaine May directing that film, and then she brought in Warren Beatty, like, hey, help out, be the sole producer of this film with me. And then he ruined it, actively ruined the entire production with his presence. He is a very heavy-handed producer, very heavy-handed presence in everything that he does. Now, that being said, he's very good at what he does. Before Ishtar, he made a film called Reds, which is a 3-hour epic historical drama film that he wrote and starred in with Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton. And in that, he had a suite written by one Stephen Sondheim. Because Stephen Sondheim doesn't have the patience to write a score for a 3-hour film. He just wrote a 6-minute suite that plays a lot throughout the film. But he said, hey, that was a great time. I will see you in a few years when I got a project. And that project happened to be Dick Tracy. And he basically wrote it on its own. So let's talk about this film ballooned in budget, ballooned in all that kind of stuff. Warren Beatty. Yeah. So he starred and produced the film, and he personally owns the rights to the Dick Tracy character. Not Disney, Warren Beatty. He wanted to launch a successful franchise with the film, but he had to halt the plans due to a lawsuit from executive producers, which is why this never got a sequel, even from other places in like media outside of Disney. In 2002, Tribune Media Services attempted to reclaim the rights to Dick Tracy character from Beatty. Beatty believed that Tribune violated numerous notification procedures that clouded the title to the rights and made it commercially impossible for him to produce a sequel. In 2005, Disney rejected Tribune's claim and gave Beatty back most of the rights, and Beatty filed a lawsuit against Tribune in 2005 and won the case in 2011. In 2010, Turner Classic Movies broadcast the Dick Tracy special, shot in late 2008, where Beatty plays Dick Tracy and is interviewed in character by Leonard Maltin.
What?
He did this in an attempt to keep the rights because he had to show he was at least attempting to make a sequel after a certain amount of years. If you look up this special, he is lit kind of in shadows to hide how much he's aged, but Maltin did explicitly ask the fictional Dick Tracy if Warren Beatty planned to make a sequel, and he responded that he'd heard about that, but Maltin needed to ask Beatty himself.
So obviously that was not Beatty. That was Dick Tracy being interviewed.
Yes. However,
So
Beatty did confirm his intention to make a sequel to Dick Tracy, but he refused to discuss details, saying, "I'm going to make another one, but it's a dumb talking about movies before you make them. I just don't do it. It gives you the perfect excuse by avoiding them." When asked if the sequel when the sequel would get made, he replied, take so long to get around to making a movie, I don't know when it starts. In April 2016, he said he still wants to make the movie while attending CinemaCon. In 2023, Turner Classic Movies aired the Dick Tracy special Tracy Zooms In, a 30-minute television special featuring Beatty once again appearing as both Tracy and himself. He criticized aspects of the 1990 film adaptation to Beatty's face and suggests that younger actors should take over the role as Tracy. The special concludes with Beatty and Tracy meeting in person and suggesting that Dick Tracy will return in the future, although there have not been any sequels in either television or motion picture form, and there have been no sequels in any other form. So,
look, man, I would love to see a new Dick Tracy movie if they put the amount of care into it that they did with this one.
Well, it is Warren Beatty. He does personally own the rights. Would you still want to see Warren Beatty, 96 years old man, playing Dick Tracy?
Oh, no, I think Dick Tracy might be right. They should probably get a younger.
I don't know why that is like that's the wildest part of this entire saga to me is Warren Beatty's fight to keep the rights to Dick Tracy to never make a movie with it.
I feel like he could do it too. Like at this point, it wouldn't even have to be a sequel. You could just make another Dick Tracy movie, right? Like,
yeah,
it's been 30 years. Like,
in my opinion, he was still pretty old at the time to do this role. And if you're doing a 60-year-old Dick Tracy, you could. There is a story to be done there. I don't think you could do a 90-year-old Dick Tracy.
No, 90-year-old Dick Tracy is in a retirement home and probably has severe head trauma.
And says he won't work behind no desk.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Dick Tracy working behind a desk in his 60s and then being forced into... Like, there's a movie there. I could see that working.
I think what's really fun about this Dick Tracy movie is that Dick Tracy himself isn't really that goofy of a character.
No.
Like, he kind of does play it pretty seriously, even though he's surrounded by these, like,
the
people
most
who
horrific
just
creatures I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, it kind of is. Like, when he goes in and is, like, trying to take apart the club or whatever, and all, like, Prune Face stands up and is like, I wouldn't be caught dead in a place with gambling. Like, Dick Tracy doesn't, like, mock him or anything or, like, crack a joke. Like, it's all dead serious.
I mean, you have to deliver lines like, you like walnuts, big boy?
Yeah. But you have to deliver it, like, straight. And I feel like that's what's so good. It's like there's a high level of, like, camp and, like, charm.
Yes, this is camp.
And we've lost the camp in a lot of modern movies. And I feel like we talk about this all the time. But
we lost camp and replaced it with snark.
Yeah, and I want the camp back. I want campy movies to come back. You know, it's okay to just have some fun and, like, make a movie where things are bright yellow and
Have
like,
you seen Everything
funny.
Everywhere All at Once yet?
I haven't, but I want to. I hear that is probably what I'm looking for.
That is, I rewatched it last night, and I'm just sitting there every 5 seconds like, man, this is just joyfully what it is and unpretentious at all. But you would love Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this reminds me a lot of that, where it's just taking big swings. I miss things that were so unafraid to be interesting.
And like, even though I profess that I fucking love this movie, I'm not going to pretend it's, like, perfect or anything.
No, it is not.
Like, it's a goofy, fun movie, but it's like, that's what's so great about it, is that it just makes these big decisions, and it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna fucking do it. Like, whatever.
I'd be damned if someone could try to tell me Dick Tracy has an arc in this movie. Like,
yeah, like, I mean, no,
he doesn't.
And even though we are sort of here to talk about the music, the actual score was done by Danny Elfman, and I feel like it really is too much like Batman.
Yes, I do not like the score to this movie.
I think Stephen Sondheim probably should have just scored the whole fucking thing.
He would not have the patience.
I'm sure he wouldn't have, but stylistically it would have worked a lot better. Danny Elfman doesn't have, like, a jazz, like, noir style to him at all.
No, he has
He just made the Batman score again.
He has The Simpsons and then Batman and nowhere in between those two things.
Yeah, and Dick Tracy got Batman, and I don't think it needed Batman. I think it needed to lean into what it was doing with the Stephen Sondheim songs.
Now, the Stephen Sondheim songs, we'll talk about more after the break, but I think they are some of his best work, honestly. Like, his most populous work, probably.
Well, he did literally just write I've Got Rhythm again, which I think is funny. He almost made like a rebuttal to I've Got Rhythm.
I completely agree. And he talks about that in his book a lot, where he very often like attributes like what he's quoting from in his work, which is fantastic if you're an artist, in my opinion.
So he wrote about his work on Dick Tracy. Of all things?
He wrote about every lyric he's ever written in his 2 books.
Jesus Christ. I would have assumed that Dick Tracy would have been like a footnote for him.
He wrote about the songs that were in the original, like, Jim Henson version of Into the Woods that never got made. Sondheim was like, hey, I want to make sure it's complete.
Somebody's going to ask about Dick Tracy. It's all in there.
He likes Dick Tracy. He's like, I'm very proud of the movie. I thought Warren Beatty did a great job. I think my work was represented, and it got me an Oscar, too, which is pretty great. He was very like, hey, I liked it. I'm proud of the work.
I think it's a good movie. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of.
I don't think he would be. Stephen Sondheim is strangely very confident while being very insecure at the same time, where he's confident about his work, very insecure interpersonally. Yeah, let's compare our opinions to those of the crazy folks on Letterboxd.com. It's time for previews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
For the kids at home, this is a game where I read real Letterboxd scores to Andrew without the rating, and he has to tell me whether it is a 1-star or 5-star based on the rating or by the review alone. All right, Andrew. First one.
I'm ready.
Warren Beatty directing a children's movie, : Okay, so Madonna, you'll be topless in this scene.
It's true. It literally does happen. Whether or not I'd call this actually a children's movie, though, that's something else.
That is a good point.
We're gonna give it a 5-star, though. I think that's a positive for this movie.
That is correct, and it is. Next one. This movie doesn't have any scenes.
I
get what they're saying.
I don't fully know if I agree. I think on some level it does definitely have scenes. That sounds really negative, though. We're gonna go 1 star.
That was a 5-star.
I guess this person is an avant-garde enjoyer.
All right, next one.
No scenes. Oh, perfect.
Why would somebody kidnap Tess and not even ask for a ransom?
Well, they explained it in the movie. 5 stars.
That is 1 star.
Jesus fuck. These reviews are literally it's just fucking random.
It really is, though. I'm not making any of them up. I want to make that clear. You can go to Letterboxd and find these yourself. Next one. The kid was the best part of the movie.
Really? Someone has that opinion. 1 star. If you think the kid was the best part, you must have fucking hated this movie.
That is correct. in parentheses, : old man voice. A feast for the eyes.
True, 5 stars.
That is correct. All right, 2 more. Penis Tracy.
Fucking banana raincoat wearing dick. God. Okay, yeah, 1 star?
That is
insulting
correct.
It? Okay, good, I got it.
How about we go into some striking and visual art like our Patreon?
Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors at Patreon. You can go to Patreon and get access to commentary tracks. We're releasing things like the Rugrats right now, but we also have a whole backlog where we've covered all sorts of things. And you can also just give us some extra money if you'd like. You know, that's our goal on Patreon. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lim, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Thespian, Ren Cullen, Rafael Martinez-Solaz, Jessica T, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Trevi Joseph, Leela, RJ Noriga, Charlie B, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Most Lopez, Liana Morton, Kaylee Blazier, Cinemageddon Reviews, Villainous Miss, Sophina Ali, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Eliza Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Cheska Veray, Sarah Den Blaker, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Gathering Party Before Venturing Forth, Rora Marasso, Mara Forloin, Captain Rod Tastic, Lisa L., Sarah Walsh, Nobody, and Renee Thomas.
And they give us a little financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in supporting us and get all those fun things that Andrew brought up, come join us over at Patreon. Also, Andrew, I think it's time that we take our hats off in solidarity for a lost brother on our Patreon.
Oh, who's that?
We lost Mina Maniri this week. Did you not notice?
Oh, geez. There's so many names now that I lose track, but yeah.
I know, but they've been there for a while, so I'm like, I hope they're doing well. Sending you the best, Mina. Let's talk about these songs in the Tracy Dick. So these songs, man.
There is not many, but
they're all bangers.
They're pretty good.
Wall-to-wall bangers. Let's start with Sooner or Later, which opens the film and plays a lot throughout the film.
Love you when you all alone. Sooner is better than later, but lover, I'll hover, I'll plan. This time I'm not only getting, I'm holding my
This one is, I mean, they're all kind of this jazzy kind of sound, but this one has that like sultry, like sexy vibe to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But it also like feels dark and scary. Like it properly sets the tone.
I'm just now realizing that the title of the song is about Dick Tracy.
Yeah, it is.
Which I think it's funny, and it's probably a intentional like lyric sort of thing. The person singing it is Breathless, who wants to get Dick Tracy. She wants, I mean, I think maybe this is like a headcanon thing, but I think she wants to be with Dick Tracy.
Oh, definitely. Like, I think that's like fully in the story.
Yeah. So she's sort of singing that she wants to get Dick Tracy and that sooner or later she'll get him. But of course the song is also just about how, you know, Dick Tracy always gets his man, you know?
It is very good, like lyrically, it's all the things that you want in a Sondheim thing, the internal rhymes. But if you insist, babe, the challenge delights me. The more you resist, babe, the more it excites me. And no one I've kissed, babe, ever fights me again.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Like, the resist, exist, I've kissed.
He does such a good job.
I've kissed with resist and insist.
He put in too much work for fucking Dick Tracy, but you know what? It got him a fucking Oscar.
No one else would have done this. Would Andrew Lloyd Webber have done this? No.
I think most people would have written like two kind of pop songs.
Why don't you do it like some other men do?
Yeah, and then they would have just played one, like they would have written like one song and then would have just played like a couple times just to be like, see, we're like noir. We got like some jazz stuff going on.
Who else but Warren Beatty would have hired Stephen fucking Sondheim to do a couple like little jazzy numbers?
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, if they did do a new Dick Tracy, Stephen Sondheim's not around to do songs anymore.
No.
So maybe it won't be good.
Who would
Honestly.
you get? Like, honestly, same producer coming up to you, like, hey, Dick Tracy.
Yeah, obviously with Stephen Sondheim not being an option, who do you get?
I think Jason Robert Brown would probably
yeah, I was
do
just
the
gonna
job.
say you probably have to get Jason Robert Brown.
They'd probably try to get Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, that's like
But he
the
wouldn't do it.
lazy
I don't think he
answer.
would do a good job. I don't think he would do a good job with this. Not because he's a bad writer or anything. It's just not his style.
I don't know. I'm interested. So in our Patreon meetup, we talked a little bit about New York, the new musical he's doing with John Kander, with from Kander Neb, the guy that did Cabaret and all that. And he is doing jazzier stuff there. And I am interested to see how that's gonna turn out.
I would be interested to hear it. I guess maybe he is a good writer for this style. I just don't think I've ever heard him do it.
Yeah, I think that's something he hasn't tried yet. So I don't want to write him off yet. But as of right now, Jason Robert Brown's the only one really doing a proper jazzy score at the moment, unless you want to hire Pasek and Paul to do, La La Land again.
Yeah, well, I do think La La Land is fun. It's not going to be what you want here.
No. No. The thing is, you wouldn't think Sondheim for jazz either. Like considering his work at the time, he was kind of in his hiatus period right now. I think he had just done Sunday. He had just done Into the Woods. So no, he's not in his hiatus period. So yeah, no, he's getting into his late period now. So he still doesn't do much jazz stuff. This is probably it.
No, you got Dick Tracy though, and he does nail it.
He does.
Speaking of jazz stuff, more.
Got my diamonds, got my yacht, got a guy I adore. I'm so happy with what I got. I want more. Count your blessings, 1, 2, 3. I just hate keeping score. Any number is fine with me, as long as it's more. As long as it's more.
This is literally just a direct quote and rebuttal of the song "I've Got Rhythm," which is like classic, like ancient jazz. This is like proto jazz type stuff. Yeah. So I've got rhythm, I've got music, I've got my gal. Who can ask for anything more? Right.
Right.
But then this song it's essentially the exact same thing, except for the who can ask for anything more is replaced with I want more.
Which, it's smart, it's clever.
It's clever. It is essentially the same song on some level though. Like it is using like the rhythm changes and all that.
Yes, but it's about greed instead of just loving to does that sound too greedy? It's not greed. No, indeedy. It's just a stocking in the store. Gotta fill your cupboard. Remember Mother Hubbard. More.
And this is the song that this is the only song that Big Boy sings ever. He doesn't really sing it, but he basically does. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he kind of does sing it though. Like he does like the whole song.
Got my diamonds, got my yacht, got a guy I adore.
Guy I adore! Let's hear it, let's hear it!
I'm so happy with what
let's
I got.
Stretch it, stretch it! More, I want more!
He hits her a couple times in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not supposed to be a savory character.
I also see a few other references in here.
Sure.
To
What do you
other I don't know if this is a jazz standard, but "Sun in the Morning and the Moon at Night," where it's like, got no diamonds, got no pearls, still I think I'm a lucky girl. I have the sun on the moon. And here it's like, I got my diamonds and I got my pearls. I got my yacht, got a guy I adore. I'm so happy with what I got. I want more.
It's really, it is, I guess I was just hearing like musically the song references.
There are so many references in here.
There's definitely other references, and all of it is just like any song where it was like, I've got enough and I'm happy. It's actually, no, I'm not. Like, I want more.
There was actually okay. You were on the right track a little bit.
Was I?
Yes.
Okay.
So This is a pastiche of all of George Gershwin's song, which I Got Rhythm is a Gershwin song. And there's also a lot of I Got Plenty of Nothing, which is a George Gershwin song from Porgy and Bess.
Okay. So I was hearing the right thing, but there's just more to it. There's even more.
There's more. There's a lot of references to like other jazz standards that Sondheim like obviously had impressions from. But the first lines are, once upon a time I had plenty of nothing, which there's an entire song called I Got Plenty of Nothing from Porgy and Bess. The best things in life are free, which is a reference to the Ray Henderson song. So it is definitely commenting on a lot of those songs about, I don't need nothing but my guy or whatever bullshit.
Yeah, except for it's not. I need more.
Yes, it's about greed. And it says a lot. It's also like from the point of view of Breathless too.
So a lot of these songs they repeat, like they play them more than once. And this song always plays whenever she's in the club and singing to all the criminals there. And so you hear this one quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously where you're going to hear it the most is at the rehearsal scene.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of a disturbing scene in a way, cuz
it's horrendous.
Because how Big Boy like treats her is really not okay.
He like slaps her on the belly and it looks like it hurts. Like it looks like there was contact made.
Obviously he is the bad guy, and so the movie is not condoning it. It's
it is not.
It is kind of disturbing to watch.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing to watch, but also he looks the way he looks. So you don't know whether to cringe or to laugh. Let's talk about What Can You Lose, which is the song between 88 Keys and Breathless.
What can you lose? Maybe it's yours. She's had clues which she chose to ignore. Maybe though she knows and just wants to go on as before. As a friend, nothing more. So she closes the door.
Well, if she does, those are the dues. Once the words are spoken, something may be broken. Still you love her. What can you lose?
But what if she goes? At least now you have part of her. What if she had to choose?
This one is surprisingly good.
Why surprising?
It's just because it's in fucking Dick Tracy. This is like a real fucking song, and it's almost like a real musical number too. Like
yes,
in that it's even describing what is going on in the story in a way. Because I think they sing this right after. Isn't it right after Dick Tracy gets arrested and framed and everything?
It's the lowest point, kind of.
His lowest point. He loses his girlfriend. She just doesn't want to deal with Dick Tracy anymore, so she just bails. And then this song plays, but it's between 88 Keys and Breathless, and they are actually just succeeded in everything that they wanted to do. So it's like an interesting moment, and it's really well done.
And also you got Mandy Patinkin singing most of it, and he's got like one of the most beautiful like voices around. And he and Madonna sound shockingly well together.
Is this the only time they've ever sung together, probably?
As far as I know.
A Madonna, Mandy, and Stephen Sondheim collaboration. The only one, probably, ever.
I don't think it would ever happen again. These three individuals.
Just certainly an interesting moment to have in fucking Dick Tracy.
Okay, it is wild that we're doing this today, though. You know, today is Sondheim's birthday and Andrew Lloyd Webber's birthday because they share a birthday.
Of course they do.
Isn't that fucking wild? But both Madonna and Mandy Patinkin have famously worked with both Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Is this the only time Madonna has worked with Stephen Sondheim?
As far as I know, aside from like, you know.
But it did happen though. So
yeah,
you can't say it didn't happen.
Can't take it away from her. Her entire album, I'm Breathless, is just because none of the songs from this movie were released on the Dick Tracy soundtrack. They were released on Madonna's album, I'm Breathless, which is weird that an album with just Madonna songs are all written by Stephen Sondheim exists in the world.
God, I fucking love this movie.
This movie, it's like a thing that you would think I made up. It's like, a pitch meeting that we do on Make Me a Musical.
Yeah, it's like, we got this goofy detective movie. Everyone's in like monster makeup. He wears a banana colored raincoat, and we got Madonna singing Stephen Sondheim songs in it with Mandy Patinkin.
You know what song I like? It's a background number. Madonna doesn't sing it, as far as I know, but it's Live Alone and Like It. I think it's just playing over a montage of one scene. It's just a fun little ditty. Like, it feels very much in Sondheim's realm of follies.
Live alone and like it, free as the birds in the trees. High above the briars, live alone and like it, doing whatever you please. When your heart desires, free to hang around or fly at any old time.
Like, as a pastiche of, like, those old-timey, like, folly shows.
These songs really do boost the movie a lot.
Oh, they do.
Like, if that montage was just, like, Danny Elfman's score and not this. Yeah, like it literally wouldn't work as well. Like the movie itself wouldn't be as memorable, I think. Because like little touches like having this song in there, playing there, just makes it work better.
Mm-hmm. Then of course there's like the murder song Back in Business that's playing over everything going on there.
Maybe I'll run for mayor myself.
Yesterday it seemed the world was about to end, didn't it? As though it wouldn't last half the year. Yesterday disaster waited around the bend. Well, my friend, spring is here. Back in business and ain't it grand? Let the good times roll. Yesterday things were out of hand. Now they're under control.
Back in Business is the other montage number.
Yep.
It's the opposite montage number. Instead of Dick Tracy winning, now it's Big Boy Caprice winning. Which I love that there's, oh my God, it's just everything about this movie. I love that there's the two fucking montages, Dick Tracy winning and then Big Boy winning, and they both have...
When's the last time you saw a montage in a movie? Like a proper montage.
They're not even bad. People make fun of montages like they're like lazy or something.
They are not.
Like, you can do good montages. Like you don't have to like, not everything needs to be in fucking real time. It's good sometimes. Just like, hey, shit happened over like a couple weeks and like.
Wouldn't you rather see a little music video conveying story instead of, like, hey, we've been working for a while?
I don't know. Why are montages bad? Like, why are they gone? I don't understand.
I think maybe the death of the sports movie was part of that too.
Really? Dude, movies are in a dire state. I don't even fucking know.
They really, really are. Cinema.
I'm not saying that all movies are bad. Obviously, there are really good movies that are coming out still. It's
Everything
just,
Everywhere All at Once.
It's just, it feels like genre-wise and like, you really have to seek out the good movies now. It's not like you can just go to the theater and like some good movie will be playing. You have to like look for it now.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other part of this, that I'm really excited about the death of streaming right now and how it is not a sustainable business method. And Disney is going back, we should really reinvest in physical media. Literally, Bob Iger said that in a presentation this week. We're going to reinvest in physical media. The bubbles pop for us. It is not financially tenable for us to just focus on streaming. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
All right. Well, I feel like we've talked everything that there is to talk about Dick Tracy.
But did Tracy zoom in? Did Dick Tracy zoom in?
Dude, I tried to watch that, but it was so cringe. I had to stop after like 5 minutes.
That is the closest thing we'll ever get to a Dick Tracy sequel is Dick Tracy zooming in.
God, it was actively embarrassing. I was just like, please make this stop. They aired that on TV.
They did. He bought the rights and it aired at like 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, because it was literally just like I need to keep the rights, so let's make something and air it somewhere, and hopefully nobody will see it.
And it's not going to be posted on the internet. Oh
man.
gosh. But Andrew, what is your overall thoughts on Dick Tracy and your cheese rating?
Overall thoughts. I mean, I fucking love Dick Tracy, the movie. It's so fucking good. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's, I don't know, it's just a ton of fucking fun to watch. And there are things that I don't love about it, but honestly, I don't even care. Like, it's just good. Whatever, fuck it.
Go in knowing it's going to be a weird experience. Don't go in expecting a Marvel movie.
Oh, God. And honestly, if you go in expecting a Marvel movie, I hope you're disappointed.
Oh, it's a comic book movie. Let's go give it a... You know what? If you liked Sam Raimi's Darkman, you'll love this movie. I think that's a good judgment to make.
Oh, yeah, and Darkman is so fucking good, too. Yeah,
Darkman
yeah.
fucks.
If you like Darkman, this is absolutely like the same genre. Like, very similar.
That would make a great double feature, honestly.
Actually, yeah, now I'm thinking about it, like Darkman and Dick Tracy. I feel like you watch Dick Tracy first, and then you go into Darkman afterwards.
Yeah. Darkman feels like, a dessert.
Yeah. As far as a cheese rating, God, do they talk about cheese? They don't talk about cheese at all. I was trying to think of like what the kid eats and like
He eats ice cream, a lot of ice cream.
He does eat a lot of ice cream. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna give it a cheddar cheese, nice and bright yellow, sharp cheddar cheese, like his banana raincoat.
No, it's wrong. It's off. It's wrong. It doesn't work. It's not good.
Yeah. I can't fight that. That's such a good. I like this movie a lot, but it does go down when it gets boring. It's really boring. Like, I want to say that it does go into places where I'm just like, I don't really want to watch this anymore. But then it'll rise up again. It really ebbs and flows. It gets you and it drags you. Anytime they're singing a Sondheim number, I'm hooked, though.
I think there's enough good stuff in it that, I mean, this isn't a movie I'm going to turn on like every day or anything like that. But every once in a while, you watch Dick Tracy and you're just like, yeah, that was good.
So there was one time a guy says, I'm going to put holes in you like Swiss cheese. So I'm going to give it Swiss cheese.
Oh, shit. I should have remembered that. That's right. Yeah, good call.
A lot of people get shot up in this movie.
Dude, it's fucking violent, dude. What are we missing?
We gotta do your Sondheim ranking tier list.
Oh, God. This counts?
Yeah, it's a Sondheim piece. If we're counting Evening Primrose, yeah, this counts.
Okay, do I rate this based on the Sondheim songs alone? Because this isn't a musical, or do I base it on how much I like Dick Tracy?
You make your own criteria here.
Because it feels unfair, like, rating...
Well, the thing is, Sondheim only wrote the songs for every musical he's ever done. He's never in the book. He's never directed it. So it's equally as fair to rate this among everything else.
I hate to say it, but I feel like fucking B tier is absolutely fucking stacked.
You're putting it in B?
I'm putting it in B tier. I mean,
Damn.
I like Dick Tracy a lot. I don't want to put it in A because I feel like A is reserved for like what I would consider almost like masterpiece theater, and like Dick Tracy's not.
To remind
Dick
others,
Tracy,
it's Sweeney Todd and Into the Woods.
Yeah, I don't think Dick Tracy is like masterpiece theater. It's just a lot of fun.
Like the Frogs.
Like the Frogs, although I think this is better than the Frogs. I'm gonna put this above Company, but like right above Company. Not to say that like Dick Tracy is like way better than Company, just
you hear that, kids? Dick Tracy is better than Company. Andrew said it.
I said it. Yeah, you know what? I said it.
His full ranking is Sweeney Todd, Mama Rose Musical, Into the Woods, Merrily, Sunday, Dick Tracy, Company, Follies, West Side Story, The Frogs, Pacific Overtures, Assassins, Passion, and Evening Primrose at the very bottom. How many do you think we have left, Andrew?
There's probably like 3.
So we haven't done Saturday Night. A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Anyone Can Whistle, Do I Hear a Waltz? Then we've done most of that. Roadshow, and finally Here We Are, which is the last one, which will be coming out later.
So that's still like 6.
Yeah, there's a good couple. Okay, I'm a little less sad. And I'm sure, would we cover Reds, the 3-hour Warren Beatty film that he did a little bit of music for?
That might be a Patreon, like we just do a short episode where we talk about it briefly.
Or we just talk about his score, because for one of his concerts, they do just perform what he's written for it to a ballet, which is fine. Because I don't think I could sit through all 3 hours of Reds. I'm sorry, guys. If you're wondering why I haven't done the films of Stephen Sondheim, I couldn't get through Reds.
Okay, true. Dick Tracy, though. We made it through Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. You know who definitely made it through Dick Tracy?
Hopefully all of our patrons.
88 Keys. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals. Patreon Musicals with Cheese. Instagram Musicals with Cheese. YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. Patreon-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet. There's some ASMR for you. This show is edited by Andrew DeWolf, and he's doing a fantabulous job. Our theme songs were created by Robyn, Nash, Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking so much about Tracy's dick. All right, Andrew, anything else we have left to say?
You know I'm going to add so many fucking memes into this episode.
Oh, I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Sooner or later, you're gonna be mine. Sooner or later, you're gonna be fine. Baby, it's time that you faced it. I always get my man.
Banana raincoat wearing dick.